I, Dr. Harry Wright, to our ecclesiastical leader of this church, Pastor Dr. W.P. Diggs, and to the participants of this homegoing celebration, and to my colleagues in ministry, the Reverend clergy, and especially to Sister Felicia Smith and Chipper, her immediate family members, as well as the extended family members, and to you, my brothers and sisters, future citizens of a greater glory. Words beyond verbal expressions do not signify how shocked I was with dismay when I learned of the expiration of Brother Lawrence Smith. When Lawrence was very young, his father made sure that Lawrence Smith became a scout, a Boy Scout. And I was charged as a scout myself during those days. I almost made Eagle. And several other boys, along with Lawrence, I carried them on an overnight trip. We went to the National Cemetery Road. There was nothing but woods during those days. And we put up the tent, and I remember Lawrence tying the ropes. We cooked the potato in the ground with ashes. It was exciting. Mrs. Smith thanked me for having taken care of his son, and it was in scouting that Lawrence's integrity and his character were furthered in the Lord Jesus Christ. He maintained those attributes. And Lawrence loved his pastor, Dr. Diggs, and Trinity Baptist Church. Well, guess what? He loved us too. The clergy would not be surprised to see Lawrence at one of our revival or worship experiences. Lawrence loved good church. If you were considered to be a good preacher, Lawrence would be somewhere in your congregation enjoying the worship experience. He was good to do business with, for my family have dealt with him for years, and I'm sure the legacy will continue. Well, I've got to close here, Lawrence. But I want to ask you one or two questions. What happened the other morning on the motorcycle? I really don't know, Matt Hines. All I know is I had 4 visitors. 4 visitors? Yes. Who were they? They were Faith, Love, Grace, and Death. And they started talking with Death. Faith said to Death, "What are you doing here?" Faith responded by saying, "Don't you bother me, Death, because I got a right to be here. After all, I'm the substance of things hoped for, and the evidence of things not seen. Without me, it is impossible for Lawrence to please God." Though Lawrence wore eyeglasses, he was not walking by sight. He was walking by me, faith. Man, Deaf Lawrence meant so much in me until he worked all the time. United Negro College Fund, Trinity Baptist Church, Boys and Girls Club, because Lawrence said, "Faith without work is dead." Deaf asked Grace, "What are you doing here?" Grace responded, "I too have a right to be present." Deaf, I, Grace, have been walking with Lawrence waking Lawrence up every morning for 55 years plus, and started him on his way. Man, they sing about me. Grace woke me up this morning, and Grace started me on my way. I'm that emergent favor that comes from God. I bless Lawrence every day because I'm God's riches at Christ's expense. Amen. Deaf asked me, "What are you doing here? What do you love? What are you doing here?" Love responded by saying, "Shut up, Deaf, because you know I gave Lawrence his mama and his dad. And every time Lawrence would go down, it was me that lifted Lawrence." Amen. I love Lawrence so much until I took the keys from death and hell. When Lawrence couldn't see his way, I was there for him. I loved Lawrence so much until I gave Lawrence my only begotten son, Jesus. For God so loved Lawrence that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. And in John it states, "Greater love hath no man than to lay down his life for his friend." Lawrence was my friend, my son. Then I heard Faith, Love, and Grace ask simultaneously, "What are you doing here, Deaf?" Yesterday, I just come back to say to Lawrence, his tile is clear. His matching is either sky.
Alicia Chipper, Smith family. It is always hard to find the proper words to express a great loss, especially the loss of a friend, most especially one who was as steadfast as Florence was. It is even harder when the circumstances around that loss seem so surreal and untimely. I enjoyed a great friendship with Lawrence. We sometimes talk of closeness in terms of personal relationships like brother and sister. Well, I often say that we don't have a whole lot to do about who our brother or sister might be. We do have everything to do with who our friends are. And the friendship that I enjoyed with Florence was steadfast. Every time I would be in his company, there seemed to be something so calming about his personality. He didn't seem to get all that excited in the world that I live in when things can be so excitable. But I always knew when you got a special look on his face that it was going to cost me something. But what is so interesting about that is it was always something for somebody else. On one occasion it might be the UNCF, and my Lord, he cost me a lot there. Sometimes the boys club. In fact, I think almost every time the boys club. Sometimes it might have something to do with the NAACP, but never have I ever remembered him asking for something for himself. I'm going to miss him. This community is going to miss him. A lot of organizations will miss him. But I would hope that each and every one of us will take solace in the fact that he gave us examples by which to live. And I hope that every day we look and see a child in need or something needing to be done in this community, that we would do it in the memory, if not the name, of James Lawrence Smith. I overlooked the fact that he would never use that name, James. I also overlooked one little other imperfection, that capital thing. But beyond all of that, he accepted me anyway.